皆様こんにちは。はじめまして。ニクラスモディと申します。よろしくお願いいたします。ですね、この素晴らしいコンフランスへ招待していただいて本当にどうもありがとうございます。バックグラウンド、私のバックグラウンドとしては2006年から2008年まで東京大学で藤本先生と立命館の小菅先生と一緒にトヨタ生産方式について研究してたんですけれども、その時の研究テーマはトヨタ生産方式をサービス業でどうやって応用するのか。それは本当に面白かったんですけども、今日のテーマも本当に面白いんですけれども、今はおじいさんになっちゃって日本語は14年で全然喋ってないから講義は、申し訳ございませんけれども英語でさせていただきます。少しだけ日本語あちこちで使おうかな。頑張りますね。Okay, sorry about that. So this is the really interesting topic of today. Why is lean spread in Europe and why is it not spread in Japan? What I think is even more interesting is this, to compare why lean is spread within manufacturing but why hasn't been spread as much in the service industry. I think this is much more interesting. So in order to understand this, I would like to start here. 知識をどう定義するのか。How do we actually define knowledge? Because I believe that there are a very, very coherent problem within how we define knowledge. Because if we define it in the wrong way, then we also hinder the spread of knowledge. This is kind of a metaphor that I always use. If I would say, do you want an apple, a fruit, or a green banana? It's a very strange question because fruit is on a general level, apple is a little bit more specific, and a green apple is even more specific. So this is what we call the level of abstractions. And what I think is interesting when we define knowledge is on what level do we actually define knowledge? Is it on a general level, so it's generally applicable, or is it on a specific level where it's very, very specific oriented to a certain context? So where has lean been defined? Well, this is what you meet in the Western world maybe 20, 30 years ago. There was a lot of lean tools, and what you basically did that everyone admired Toyota, so we went to the Toyota factory and everyone wrote down what do they have and what do they do. So we had the lean methods and the lean tools, and then everyone said, let's become like Toyota, let's implement and use the Toyota tools and the Toyota methods. And this is where I believe that we make a very, very big mistake, and that's the reason why lean wasn't spread within the service industry. Because if we ask anyone, I sent out a questionnaire to the leading lean authorities in Sweden, what is lean? And I got all these different answers, 17 different answers. And we don't have any clue what lean is. Is it a philosophy, something soft, or is it something hard? So if we look into what has happened with lean is that some people define it on a general level, way of living, way of thinking, philosophy. Some people define it a little bit more specific, way to improve, its methods and so on. But some people, and this is usually where lean has been, it's a method, it's a collection of tools, and it's about elimination of waste. Very, very specific, 7 types of waste and so on. And this has led to a very, very severe problem. Think about this. This is a tool. This is visualization, and you use some kind of whiteboard for that. If you invite someone from the service industry, I think most people feel like maybe this is not something for us because they only look at the tool. But what is interesting, and what I've been trying to do within my research is to ask myself, why do they use this tool? Because then we tap into the brain of the people using it. So if we go back to this level here, どのレベルで知識を定義するのか、それは本当に面白いと思うんですけれども、down here we have had lean. It has been on a very, very low level of abstraction. However, here is where we have whiteboards. If we were to say, why do we use a whiteboard? If we go into Toyota dealer and see why are they using a whiteboard, well, maybe they want to visualize the schedule of the salespeople working there. Why do they want to do that? Because if a customer comes in and they didn't know about that customer, they want to be able to have a flexible workforce. And by seeing what everyone is doing, they could see who could take care of the customer without asking everyone. And why do they want to do that? Well, they don't want the customer to wait. And why is that? Well, on the highest level, we want to create flow. Nagarezukuri. You know about that, or just in time. We want to deliver what the customer wants, when they want it, just how they want it. That is the principle behind. So by asking why, it's very interesting to define a general principle that I believe is very, very applicable within all types of industries. The challenge is with both Toyota生産方式 and Lean 生産方式 is that on what level do we actually define it? And especially when we come to new industries, where do we actually, or what do we bring? We would like to implement Lean. Is it on low green apple level, meaning is Lean whiteboards? Or is Lean principles that are general applicable? So if we look into Toyota Production System, on what level is Toyota Production System defined? Well, here's a document from Toyota Motor Corporation, how they define Toyota 生産方式. And I think just in time, as you can see, 必要なものを必要な時に必要なだけ. That is very, very clear. And if we look into Jidoka, it's also very clear. Because it's like 後工程に不良を流さない or 異常を流さない. These are two principles which I think is brilliant. However, it's a little bit difficult to understand. It took me 15 years to really try to understand it. I'm still a big beginner. But what I think is golden with Toyota 生産方式 is that we have two principles and they are defined on the principle level. Lean, however, we missed the principle level a lot in the beginning. And we over-focused on the tools. So what I think is interesting is how can we, if we want to spread knowledge, this is the level where we should be when it comes to integrating it into the service industry. So I believe that just-in-time and Jidoka, the very strength of that is that is defined on a higher level of abstraction. And that was one of my main takeaways. When I was studying with Fujimoto Sensei, we saw that just-in-time and Jidoka, that are two principles that defines a direction. And this direction is applicable within all types of industries. So what the challenge, however, is if I go to, for instance, Okara Hotel and say, hey, we would like to implement Toyota 生産方式. And I say, well, we would like to, ちょっとすみませんですけれども、just-in-time と自動化を応用しましょうね. If I would say that to any type of service industry, they would maybe say, まあ、それはね、今日はちょっとね、no thank you. And it's quite common because these are manufacturing-oriented concepts. Just-in-time is very, very much connected to manufacturing. Jidoka, is it automation or is it automation or what is it? It's very easy to get people kind of negative, like this is not for us. So what I've been trying to do since I started with this research is to how can we make this simple so everyone can understand it? A general person, like if we have Tanaka-san or Eva or Johan working for a hotel or any type of industry, how can we make them understand this brilliance that Toyota have implemented? And when we wrote this book, This is Lean, I would almost say this is Lean is what we tried to contribute to the Lean work, but it was knowledge and insights that we gained from studying the Toyota Production System, because I do believe that Toyota Production System is still the most brilliant concept ever developed. We can call it Lean, we can call it TPS or whatever, but what I think is the absolute most important thing is to understand these principles. So instead of talking about TPS or lean, I've been trying to instead talk about flow efficiency, flow koritsu. Or instead of talking about jidoka, then it's much easier to talk about miruka. I will come to that later. So I will just show you a little bit what I've done in order to make these concepts more applicable within other types of industry. So let's start with flow efficiency. So I would like to show you a video, and this is a video that we did 1 year ago, where me and my friend Henrik Knieberg, he's one of the leading authorities within Agile, we demonstrate what flow is not. And we do this by using Lego. And I'm going to show you this video. It's just 2-3 minutes long. And I hope that you will recognize a little bit what is happening in companies all over the world. So check out the video.
As Beata mentioned, I'm a fan of silly metaphors. So the metaphor of today is Lego bricks. And before we show the video, I'm going to explain a little bit about what you're going to see. This brick represents a customer request. And it's going to be sent to a team of 4 people. And those 4 people are going to execute that request by passing it between each other. So when all the people on the team have held this brick in both hands, then it goes to the customer. So go ahead and roll the video and let's take a look at this. So there they are, working hard. And there's the customer. So first shipment done, right? So it's just a simulation, but there are connections to reality if you choose to look for it. So there's another one, they're working, getting stuff done. Each person has like a specialty and they're applying their own specialty to the job, working together, getting these things done. However, what happens if we were to pause right now? Pause. Right, now imagine that the manager comes walking by. Here comes the manager, walking by, takes a look, sees this instant in time, goes off to a meeting. All right, continue the movie. All right, people are working, and here comes the next request, and they're still working. And then suddenly pause again. Okay, manager comes back from the meeting, takes a look, and what do you suppose the manager is thinking right now as he looks at this? What are you thinking? Yeah, not many people working, right? It's only 1 out of 4, right? Every time manager looks inside the room, it's just 1 out of 4 people working. The others are just standing around. Seems like a bit of a waste, right? What are you saying? Oh, he wants me to fix this. He wants me to make sure that we are getting bang for the buck. These are expensive resources. We pay them a lot of money, and we need to make sure they're working hard, right? Cool. So in the next video, in a moment, you'll see another version where I make sure that everybody is fully utilized and working really hard. So go for it. Let's see the next video. There they go. Watch them. Working hard. All being super busy. Okay, pause. All right. Manager comes in, wants to see how this whole thing worked out. And lo and behold, look, they're all working super hard. Everybody's being really busy. Wow, we're getting bang for the buck, right? This is great. We hired these people, we paid them, and they're working super hard. It's perfect. Except if you take a look at the right, you see the customer there. Like nothing really has been delivered.
All right, welcome back. You could see that what they did in this video, or what we did, was that we maximized something called resource efficiency. We wanted everyone to be super busy. Let's make sure that everyone is busy. That is one type of efficiency. And this is what we can talk about: silo thinking or island thinking. Everyone is focusing on their silo or on their island. And this is a general problem that I believe that everyone within all industries can relate to. But if I want them to start thinking about, Toyota生産方式 no, just in time. I want them to start thinking about that, meaning what does the customer want? Then I wouldn't say I would like to implement TPS or just in time. Then it's much more easier to talk about what is flow. And I'm going to show you one more video that shows what is flow. So check it out. And I think it's a very brilliant, it's basically Henrik who came up with this, but it's a very easy way to understand what is flow. So let's check out what is flow.
Let's roll it and see how it looks like. So, pull is happening right here, right? Pull a task. When you have capacity, pull the next one, etc. So now we have roughly the same flow time as before, like the end-to-end time to get a brick through the system. We have a little better resource utilization, but most importantly, it's a self-adjusting system. We don't need to worry about keeping everybody busy. They'll keep themselves just busy enough. And notice now they're all passing green bricks. So what happened was they got customer feedback because they're so fast, and through that feedback, they learned that green is worth more. So they're passing green. And now they adapted again. They learned that now the customer needs yellow. So we not only get better flow, we also get better adaptability to customer needs.
Welcome back. Isn't it amazing? By securing flow, it's both very easy to be effective, meaning we do the right thing, but it's also very easy to be efficient. We can develop a smooth flow. So here we just used Lego, and by doing that we could define a very simple concept called flow. And this is what I believe if we talk about why has lean been spread in Europe, or when did lean start to get spread? It was when we let go of all these concepts named lean and TPS or agile, and we started to think about the principles. Nagarezuguri. How do we create flow in our process? That is a general term, and it doesn't matter which industry you work within. It's the principles that we should focus on, and the purpose. We want to increase flow efficiency because that people can relate to. So that was a little bit example about how we talk about flow efficiency or flow. I mean, the background is the philosophy of just in time and to deliver what customer want, when they want it, exactly the amount wanted. But we cannot use these concepts. We need to talk about the principles. Now let's talk about Jidoka, and of course this is a huge simplification. Jidoka in itself is a very, very interesting philosophy, and I'm still beginner in understanding of it. But what I try to do when I meet companies is to package it in a simple way so they can connect with it. I definitely say, don't say, let's implement Jidoka. It comes from Toyota. No one would be super inspired by that, especially not now, because people want to know, well, how shall we do things? But if we now start talking about visualization and management by just opening up your eyes, then people start to get interested. And when I explain Jidoka, I usually talk about visualization. Of course, it's a simplification, but it makes people understand and they don't get skeptic. So for instance, when I start talking about Jidoka, I said, well, this is, football. Everyone knows the same goal, what the goal is. Everyone sees the ball. Everyone sees each other. Everyone can see the football field. Everyone has a perfect understanding about what is happening. Yeah, everyone understands that. All right, great. But the problem is that organizations, we don't play soccer like this. We play soccer in a completely different way. And that is like this. We put up tents on the football pitch, and everyone sits in their tent, and the only thing we calculate is how many times have they kicked out the balls from their tents. And I believe that is completely incorrect. And when I've kicked out my balls, I can say, yoku dekimashita ne, and then I can check out Game of Thrones instead. We don't see the big picture. So if you want to understand what Miruka is, it is about creating a transparency that everyone can see the big picture all the time. That is one clue that I believe is extremely interesting to understand. It is Jidoka and it's TPS behind, but I don't talk about that. I talk about visualization. An ability to see the big picture and get out of the tents, get out of the silos. Then we can continue and say, well, if you know that you have visualized information, You have all the information that you need visualized. The next question is, how accessible is it? The next test here, how many balls do you see? Come on now, when you listen to me, how many balls do you see? Well, it's actually 37, but it's quite difficult because you need to invest effort. And for you guys who know, you know it 100 times better than me, the essence of Jidoka is to just med miru kanri. That's what they write. It's kanri with just using your eyes. So the ability to open up your eyes. This is bad visualization because it's not only to open up our eyes, we need to invest effort. This, however, this is good visualization, where it's instantly accessible. You see 10, 10, 10, 7. That is very easy to understand. So visualization, it's very much about accessibility. So we take the football pitch. Can we see the big picture? Do we have all information? 2, is it instantly accessible? That is the second sub-principle. And now we come to the third sub-principle, which I think is extremely interesting. And I'm going to use a metaphor. Everyone who listens to me now, please hold your hands like this. Okay? Hold your hands like this, as if you are driving a car. All right? So let's see. Look at this picture here. You're out driving a car. Pretend that you're out driving. Yeah? And when I say ready, set, go, I want you to close your eyes. All right? So ready, set, go, close your eyes. How long do you dare to close your eyes when you drive a car? If you're still out driving a car and you're still closing your eyes, then I get very afraid. Because when we drive a car, we don't close our eyes. Why? Because we want to have progress control. We want to understand what is happening. When we are out driving, you know, the driver never closes his or her eyes. Why? Because the driver wants to have perfect control of the progress. Why? Because if an old man or an old lady comes, they want to press the brake and then let them pass and then press the gas. That's what they want to do. And that is what we call micro adjustments. In Japanese, we call it ijo kandi. The old man and the old lady that we didn't plan for, that's the ijo kandi. We see them, we do a small adjustment, we let them pass, and then we go. So I think Jidoka, or this possibility to see and make fast adjustments, that is very good, well implemented when we drive the car. But think about it. If this driving your car, if this was your company that you were out driving, how long do you dare to close your eyes when you drive your company? Well, companies, they have monthly reports. So they open up their eyes every month and then they hope that the next month will be better, and then they sleep for a month. And then they open up and say, how is this month? Oh, it's not better than last month. Okay, let's hope everyone is working really hard and doing really much better, and then they sleep. What visualization is all about, or Jidoka, what it's all about, is to go from open up your eyes every month, to open up your eyes every week, to open up your eyes every day, to open up your eyes every hour, till we come to real-time visual management, that you see small deviations all the time. You open up your eyes all the time. That is when we go from results management to progress management. And that is what we can call Miruka. Because it's not enough just to see the big picture. We need to make it accessible, but we also need to have open eyes to be able to see it all the time. We need to have morning meetings, afternoon meetings, evening meetings. We need to see, can we see the progress? And if an old lady or an old man comes, then we can press the gas or press the brake or go to the left or go to the right. We don't want to hit them. We want to handle that deviation, and that is what we can call ijo kandi. management by handling irregularities or deviations. So you can see here, these are three metaphors that I use when I try to explain what Miruka is. So for me, when it comes to lean or when it comes to Toyota Production System, we need to make it easy. If we come and say, yeah, Toyota 生産方式を応用したいんですけれども, and someone said, well, what is the Toyota 生産方式? And I come with 100 tools. It's not so strange that people get skeptic. So what we've been trying to do is to use the philosophy of the Toyota Production System or use the philosophy of lean. For me, it doesn't matter whatever you call it, because I don't want to use those words. Because if I say I'm going to implement lean, it's very easy to say, 申し訳ございません, but not here. You know? People think that these lean consultants that I've been, they think that I'm paparapa. You know? So we need to be able to develop knowledge that everyone can relate to. That's why I rather call it fro koritsu, meaning flow efficiency. Or instead of talking about 自動化はね、素晴らしなコンセプト、トヨタのコンセプトなんですけれども、people don't want to hear that. People want to hear what type of principles can we use within our company. Miruka, there's no one that feels negative towards making things visible, because everyone is tired of silo thinking. So where are we? Well, this is where we started. 最初から製造業でリーンが広がったが、サービス業でリーンが広がらなかった。その理由は何でしょうか？定義は簡単ではありませんでした。It's about simplicity. Why is it easy to use an iPhone? It's simple. Why do we use certain video games? It's simple. The traditional definitions of Toyota Production System or Lean has been very, very complex. It has been oriented to manufacturing. It has been a lot of tools, difficult to understand. What I really, really hope is that we can start focusing even more on making things simpler by using Lego demonstrations, by using stories, by using metaphors. That is what makes people understand, and that is also my understanding how you spread knowledge. So I hope you have gained a little bit from this lecture. 本当にね、日本語をよく喋れへんからね、本当に申し訳ございません。本当に招待していただきまして、どうもありがとうございました。And I also want to say, the only reason why I'm here is due to Fujimoto Sensei. He invited me to Todai, and he opened up the door to Toyota. So without Fujimoto Sensei, I wouldn't have known anything of this. So if you gain something, it's not due to me. It is due to the brilliant, the smartest person that I've ever met, Fujimoto Sensei. Thanks a lot.